find that. Nityanandam, aloha. I'm doing this video because let me go back. Let me invoke oneness. Om Nityananda Paramasukadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sajisham Tattvamasya Delaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvari Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Triganaritam Sakuram Tam Namami. Om Nityananda Paramashivoham. Om Nityananda Paramashivoham. Om Nityananda Paramashivoham. I'm doing this video because I'm not against all of the raising the consciousness, right? Raising consciousness, raising vibration, meditation to hold that space for everyone, right? But let's get checked into reality of the situation called laws. Maritime law, right? Black's Law Dictionary that binds everybody in a certain way globally, and talking about American constructs, or actually they're British because the US and the Bar Association, British Accredited Regency, are the ones who make those policies up, or whatever, right? So let's get really real, because the spiritual path is about forging a collectively agreed upon reality, right? It's easy to sidestep that and sell BS, right? Blow sunshine up people's butts. Because you can say all those things, but what do people do? They use infrastructural vehicles. In Hawaii, because Hawaii is not America, those infrastructural vehicles are considered invasion, right? Turning civilians, ignorant civilians, into warriors to perpetuate or to push forward those agendas. Now, what is that? We're talking about, for me, it would be 501c3s, right? 501c3s, then there's the ones who aren't doing the whole nonprofits, the for-profits, LLC, sole proprietor, W-2s, 1099s, right? S Corp, C Corp. We're talking about that. Those are vehicles that create collateral for the country that they belong to. Now, if you don't believe that all of your efforts, right? So I'm talking to the spiritual people here, the religious and spiritual leaders. You are making your efforts, but all of those efforts, right, that get quantified into a living reality, meaning land, whatever other assets that you purchase, whether it's to build your, whatever it is, right? Filming studio, etc., 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 right? Whatever kind of things you're gonna, the props, the this and that, whatever, all of it, from clothing, right? And then if you go into the secular side, how do you know that it's not even yours, right? Let's start with the end in mind, right? When people have trusts or they have estate sales or whatever, it's because they're getting taxed on things they've paid taxes on already. It's not even theirs. Why? For American constructs, it starts with the Jones Act, where everything is in inventory or a barcode that is tracked, that is inventory and collateral for the US or the British Accredited Regency portion of the US. Now, I'm not going to even go down the whole we the people America side of that civil war that's still going on. So I'm trying to communicate to the spiritual peoples doing whatever you're doing. You know, awesome job for motivating, encouraging, inspiring those that you influence, right? We all have a different circle of influence who gravitate to our vibrational energy. And I get it. Even for me, very few can handle I can barely handle, right? If it's in prayer, constant meditation, for the amount of clarity and downloads that I get to see this multidimensional stuff, and then to try and to communicate it, as well as for me, I make graphics because graphics fly faster, supposedly, if it gets downloaded and shared, which a lot of times does, and then a lot of my graphics go around the globe and then come back to me. So because everything manifests on the spiritual side first before it manifests into a living reality, yes, that is a fact. But in order to forge that living reality, we all collectively must understand what it is of all of that. And I get it. It's not being taught on purpose, because for ignorance, you can take advantage of people for their ignorance. And their not just powerlessness, but the fact that a lot of people don't expect others to explain themselves clearly, to be empowered with that knowledge. And then I get it, right? There's that ego side, right? The epa, dealing with that, whether it's one's own or others, right? One of the main things too is you have all these NGOs, peace organizations or whatever, who are completely oblivious that laws of war exist and the UN only referees war. They have humanitarian law and people are trying to go through that book, but that's not law. That's some word salad smithing of whatever mind-numbing crap that some guy wrote. Real law is treaties, and those are contracts. So since we're talking about contracts, right, these are colonizer constructs. They need that just to make friends, but they do that for bait and switch, right? Contracts. And then you got everybody with their hands bloodied with blood title. And nobody's talking about that, right? And so I've been saying for quite some time, calling out even the Pope with his, reputation of the doctrine of discovery. Okay, right? Then give back the land. Oh, that's not an apology. Kind of similar to the apology bill to the Hawaiians, right? It means what? Nothing. Nothing. Nothing gets done. Nothing. That's where I'm a little skeptical on Keanu Sai's proposal for the state of Hawaii to be the intermediary military government. Because if they really were, they would have already done it. But dragging, right? But I don't know, right? some people might wake up and start being responsible and doing what is pono and what is right. But the thing is are we in corporational fictions, right? So until even the spiritual side, that's why I made the video that I did, because I was seeking, where does the rubber actually meet the road for why God or whatever is not in the courts, right? Why? They have the whole, what is that? What is the word I'm looking for? They go through the motions of it, but it's not there. That's what it is. Because why? It's all subjective truths. And it can't do that in law, right? Because it's about the collective reality, the collective truth. So that's been sitting in my space today, because I just keep looking around, right? I keep looking around, and possibly, maybe others have come across what I've come across and choose to do some kind of like avoidance dance of what that is, right? Or they have vested interests and are strung out on their vested interests, and they have the blind spot so they can't see, right? It gets very challenging. One of the main challenges is each one dharma. They have every right. Their one dharma means one religion that make up the whole, right? The one that make up the whole, and each one is, and it's a beautiful thing, right? That connection, that commitment, the bhakti is a beautiful thing. But to consciousness monocrop, which is spiritual terrorism, right? Others to be straitjacketed, spiritual straitjacketing for that, those ones are really unaware, because when they read stuff, they read it from that perspective. That's a blind spot. The words that some of them use are edited versions of that vested interest, so it gets really challenging for me, because I just keep going like this, no vested interest, no, right? I will not be used as a weapon, like to my kids, right? The kids always do this. They start fighting with each other, right? Mom! Mom! And all kids, no matter what background, racial background, their tattletale voice is the same, right? Right? And as a mother who loves them both equally, healthy mothers, right? Healthy mothers do not pit their kids against each other. I kept on saying, I'm not a weapon to be used on the other. You guys know what you did. What I would make them do is put their left hand on their heart, look at each other in the eyes, and they both know what their part of what they did to hurt the other, right? So within seconds, just start crying, and then they get along, right? Because what is it? The one who's like a little bit more intense in the grabbing. Right? That's what we're dealing with globally. Right? Whether it's Hawaii Kingdom, whether it's Native Americans, whether it's Israel. Right? Israel is like way over there. And to me, with all due respect, all of those who support that, they should stop their lives, pack everything up, move over there, and go do that. Right? How many people forced, extorted to go and pay for that? And then what's even more absurd is like millions, hundreds of millions of dollars for a plane, and for, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars for the bomb, and then, right, how much ever thousands of dollars it takes to hire and then go and whatever, for people who live on less than $1 a day. What kind of absurdity is that? Right? That's one dharma, pumped up with ego, not caring about the actual ecosystem, that they're just one species, one thought current, one. And then even that one book, everybody get their one book, right? But there is like trillions and trillions of books out there. A lot of them more interesting, more peace-oriented, Advaita, right? And then there's that component, right? One of the things that I was just meditating on and accepting as is, and even accepting that I can't accept, right? Because of the rate at which people grow or whatever, right? Everybody's at different growth curves. And you gotta breathe through this and wait, because like the collective, right? And then there's all of this stuff called Hawaii, right? And the more I look at it, right, it's pretty silly. If the U.S., which is the British side of the Civil War, is winning, and if Hawaii Kingdom, Kamehameha I, joined the British Army, became British. You just, as soon as you join some other country's army, you're not part of that other country. Conquered, they say, they're like united. No. Right? But history is written by the winners, and they skew and slant everything instead of, you know, the actual stuff. So if Hawaii Kingdom is British as well, there really is no conflict. If that's the perspective Keanu Sai is operating from, why not say it as such? Because I keep looking at it, and that's kind of what I'm coming to on that, right? Food for thought. I'm not saying that really is, but it's something worth thinking about. As well as this whole David Wynn Miller guy, right? He's pushing the British constructs, right? The postal wars, and he's in all of that, and this and that, or whatever, and it's just paper pushing, fundamentally, right? I was telling my mom, because I make my own clothes. She sent me some material, even this. So I sent her some photos of the clothes with matching bags, right? And she's like, "Oh, you're so creative and so busy." And she's like, "I need it to balance out this very toxic male energy called laws," which is like the freaking Black's Law Dictionary, made up from somebody's mind that's somebody else's subjective truth to try and be like, or it's a group effort to put people into that cage box, right? And be like, I don't just, no, whoa, right? What do you do? And I was just telling her, it's just people posturing, right? They're crayon scribbles. And then their crayon scribbles get one other guy, David Whitmiller, too. Bless him, right? I'm just making light of the situation and helping look at it from a more, like, a collective perspective, right? He's like, oh yeah, my crayon scribbles, you know what? I'm going to take my words and then add math to it so that you can do some circus jungle gym on my circus jungle gym, and that's how it is. It's just like, really, what? Right? For contracts, which they use for bait and switch to self-righteous justification, blood title, right? And then they come in with their title insurance, right? Process, taking advantage of people's wanting to be civil. People are civil. People avoid conflict. Yeah, it's that, like, whoa, what do you do, right? Collectively, right? What do you do collectively? You can just keep on blowing sunshine up people's butts? Or are we going to get down to brass tacks and actually, like, really look at it and start actually forging real solutions for the collective stuff? Yeah, it's real hard being me, looking at all of this stuff, reading this mind-numbing crap, and then just being like, whoa. And it's not just that, sitting and listening to other dialects of the law, right? Each one person is reading this stuff, and then based on their vested interest and their, like, whatever, they're saying their stuff. Yeah, I'm kind of done. Just had to get it out, getting these wiggles out, right? For whatever is coming through. And I'm in the process of forging. Thank you for listening. Aloha. Nityanandam. I'm going to close with the Purna mantra. Om Purnamida Purnamidam Purnamidachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat Sarvam Bhagavan Shri Nityananda Paramashivam Padakar Om Nityanandam. Aloha Nityanandam. Have a good evening.